So most of you know I took a KLX 140 and put a 250 cc air-cooled engine in it and made it the ultimate enduro bike. It has full-size wheels and it's super light and it fits me really well. If you haven't, go back on my channel and check it out. But it really struck a nerve with a lot of the KLX 140 fans, and they said blasphemy. Then we had another group of people say, you could have bought a 230 or a little bit bigger bike and it would have been worth the money. You just wasted your money. You could pick up, KLX 140s for, $1,500, and the engine swap is only $600. And a lot of people's like, just go buy a bigger bike that fits you better and all this. So that's what I did. So I ended up picking up a KTM 200XC. Now, this is the first year for the full-size frames. The earlier years had the 125 frames, which that's what I really wanted, but this bike will do. The boy said it ran and is ready to ride, and he was right. It was, ready to ride, but not for very long. I had to do some maintenance to this bike. So in this video, I'm going to show you that it was cheaper for me to build the KLX 140 and make it full size and have enough power to do enduro stuff than to go buy a clapped out bike that I have to do a bunch of maintenance and buy stuff, for it. So the first thing I did when I got this bike was put a new seat cover on it because the one that was on it was all ripped up and it looked like garbage. And as you can see, it's already on there. I got to take the seat off, got to take the tank off, I got to put new radiators on it. These ones leak a little bit, and we got to put new reeds in there. They're chipped, and a new carburetor boot. And we already put a new tire on the back, and we had to put new wheel bearings in there. So the tire was already put on when I put the seat cover on. I put a Tusk hybrid tire on there. That's what I like running. But I like these old two-strokes because they're easy to tear down. It took me maybe an hour to do all this stuff. And they don't make the 200s anymore. And like I said, I wanted the older ones that had the 125 frames. But this one still is pretty light and nimble. And this sets just as high as the KLX 140 that I have. So this bike fits me really good. But, I understand what you guys are saying. This has better suspension. It's just better, overall. But when I'm riding in the woods, I'm really not hitting whoops and stuff like that. Sometimes we'll get a little crazy and race each other. But I can see where you guys are coming from. But I still built the KLX 140 cheaper than what I bought and maintenance this bike for. I ended up having to buy an oil change, all new fluids in the bike. We put new reeds in this bike, new boot. They're expensive. New air filter, wheel bearings in the back, tires. We had to do all kinds of stuff just to even ride this bike. And I get it. It's just maintenance. The last person that had it didn't really maintenance that well, which that's why I got such a good deal on it, because it's not a perfect bike. Now, I am going to hold on to this bike because, for one, I am a big two-stroke fan, and two, they don't make them anymore. They make the 150s and stuff, but what I'm wanting to do is ride it for this season, get a lot of riding out of it, and then over the winter, I'm going to strip it all down and have everything redone, like painted and all that stuff. But we took a look inside the engine also. It has a brand new crank bearings. It has a brand new top end. This bike was rebuilt by somebody, and they couldn't get it to run right. And I think I know why. The boot was creased and had a little hole in it, but you couldn't really tell until you bent it back. Sometimes it would hesitate or maybe do something weird, and I believe that was the problem. And after we got it all together, this bike actually did pretty good. And it rips, and it's, it's not a 250, but, it suits me just fine in the woods. And I have a lot more in this bike than I do the KLX 140. Now, in the long run, the KTM, will be worth it, because at the end of the day, the KLX 140 is still a pit bike, and it is what it is. But I love riding that thing, and I love riding this thing, and I just wanted, best of both worlds, two-stroke and four-stroke. And I love riding them both, don't get me wrong, but sometimes I still favor the KLX 140. I think it's because it's something that I built. But we have a lot of work left to do on this old girl, and this is what it looks like so far. We got to get new plastics for it, and some odds and ends like chain guard and stuff like that, new grips. But she's pretty dialed in now.